So we still go dancing. That's as far as I go with you. Okay, so don't be afraid when you get my age, anything goes. Yeah. Yes, over there.
How long did it take for you to ease back into normal life after you were liberated?
How long did it take for you to ease back into regular life after being liberated?
I would say a day or two. Because they told us the minute where we were liberated, when we went in together to clean up, they said, you guys starting a new life, forget about where you were. And we listened. And I didn't talk about it till the 80s. My wife and my kids, I have a son and a daughter. He's a professor in NYU in history and philosophy. He's a big philosopher, so am I. Not really. And they didn't know anything except they knew that I was a survivor. So when Spielberg's list came out, a matter of fact, I met Spielberg before he made the movie Schindler's List. The reason I met him is because I was a baker, and I moved from Connecticut to Los Angeles, and I had to deliver a cake, I had no idea, into San Fernando Valley. And if you guys familiar with San Fernando Valley. And so they opened the gate, and I knocked on the door, and I said, Mr. Spielberg, I got a cake for you. He took the cake and gave me $10. I should have him to sign the $10. That probably will be worth today $11, maybe more. So that's the first time I met him and the last time. But when he took that money from Schindler's List and he put on the remembering taped. So his friends, his people came to my house and they taped us. They taped me. Now when they taped me, when you go to Washington, you put my name in it and you can see the tape. But on that tape, it's not like I speak to you now. They ask me questions and I answer them. So with that tape over there in the 80s has nothing to do when I speak to high school, because it's entirely different. But you are going to see a lot of things. If you go to the museum, you're going to see a lot of high schools, because I must have put maybe 5,000 letters. All those high school are going to be in the Holocaust Museum. So when maybe you'll be grown up, maybe you'll be doctors, lawyers, maybe a president. You never know. And so if you go there, you put my name in it so you can see it. Anybody else? Yes. I can't hear.
Did you ever learn what happened to the rest of your family?
Did you ever look?
No, I don't know. The way I understood is most likely they went to Treblinka or Majdanek. If you study the Holocaust, if you get in there, maybe 1 in 100 came out, maybe 1 in 1,000 came out alive. So that's the only thing I know where they went. But the Red Cross is still looking where they really went. So I have no idea. Anybody else? Yes.
How long have you been telling your story to schools?
I've been telling the story since 85, 86, 87. Nobody knew the depth of my story. Now, you have to understand, this is my personal story. I cannot speak for somebody else. Each one has his own story to tell. And that's the reason I go around, because I want your kids to understand what people went through. Now, maybe you know or maybe you don't know. During the war, between 50 and 60 million people perished. You know that, guys, do you? Or you don't? Okay? Now, it's only 6 million Jews. The reason he picked up the Jews is because Hitler said, I only saw Hitler once going to my town. That's it. And that was at the end of 1939. He went from Krakow to Warsaw. So he had to pass my town. So at that time, and there was nothing serious going on. And so the Jews were not affected, except in Germany by itself. So the reason because he hated the Jews for some reason or another. And the German people, not all of them, but a minority, believed in what he's saying. You know, that the Jews run the world, the Jews are communist, the Jews are going to take over Germany, and if you keep on talking every day, people start believing. Anybody else? Yes.
Mark, at what point did the war start for you? Because I know that the United States didn't declare war for a while after the war started.
Yeah.
When did it start for you?
Well, over here, I think there were a lot of Nazis here. They still are today, but today they're more open than before. What's his name? The German. What's his name? Hinden. What's his name now? A German fighter pilot who flew from something to Paris. Hindenburg?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's the blend.
Lindenberg. Lindenberg. Okay, he was an anti-Semite. He didn't want the American to go into the war, and finally they had to go in because Hitler declared war. Otherwise, the American people are pacifist. They don't want nothing to do in another country. Do your own thing. I think we have a little problem today too. So I hope you, when you grow up, you change the United States, maybe be a better world to live in. But for me personally, it's still the best country in the world. And when I came over in 1947 and 48, I joined the American Army. Would you believe it? I went from the frying pan to the fire. And I had a German sergeant, American, but he was a German sergeant. He said, "Hey, what the heck are you doing in the Army?" So I said, I joined and I'm glad, and I'm a veteran today. So, and I almost went to the Korean War, and my outfit didn't go. So I was lucky when the other outfit went to the Korean War, and half of them came back. Anybody else? Yes.
What was it like going back to normal food after you left the internment camp? Because I've heard that people can have problems when they start eating normal food.
Yes, a lot of people had problems, no question about it. I didn't have any problem because for some reason I listened to it and I forgot where I was. Everything was fine. I had no problem. The United UNRWA, United Nation Relief Association or something, took us in, and we were learning to have a trade. We were learning everything, so we didn't have time to think about the past. They told us to think what's going to happen in the future. And I'm glad I did it. But everything is coming back. When I speak to you, I can visualize what happened right in front of me. But I have to speak. Of course, I cannot go into really gross. It will gross you out what really, 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 really happened. I have to tell you because you're a little bit too young. If you 19 and older, I'll tell you what you never heard and you never imagined what really, really happened. Okay, some of them. No, I'm not going this way. Otherwise, no, I'm staying this away from it. But if I tell you, you would not probably believed, and that's what really, really happened. My speech today is I tone it down maybe a quarter. What really happened? If you were in the late teens and the early 20s,